Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm doing my everyday makeup look. If you want to see my everyday makeup look, then just keep watching. I always start with my brows first, and I'm using the Benefit Brow Zings product, where it has the pomade and the powder. So I always comb out my brows first, and then I go in with the pomade to shape out my brows. I don't usually worry too much about getting them very precise because I always go back in and clean them up. But with the pomade, it really just helps to fill it in and make them look more natural. So this is where I go in and, get the shape that I want. And then when I go in with the powder, I'll set everything down and it makes them a little bit darker to match my hair color. I'm going in with the powder side of it now, and I basically just lay it over the pomade we put down, and it just helps to set that in place so it doesn't move throughout the day. Next, this is the concealer. It's just a Wet n Wild concealer that I use to carve out my brows. I use a little flat definer brush and just place that underneath my brows and over top as well, or on the top of them, just to carve them out and give them that defined look that I like. Next, I put on my lashes, and I always like to do this because I feel like it helps me get my look, I get a better look at the makeup look that I'm doing with lashes on already. So I'm using the BeBella lashes in the style called Babie. I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. I use the duo glue to let that sit for a few minutes and then just pop them on. And then I use tweezers just to make sure they get stuck on my whole eye. For foundation, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me in the dewy finish, and I'm also using my Jaclyn Hill brushes. I know this foundation looks a little bit dark, but once we get it blended out, it matches perfectly. I've been using this foundation for years. I can't even, it's been over at least 6 years. But it's always one of my go-to foundations because you can get some pretty good coverage, but it never looks cakey, or your skin always looks like skin afterwards, which I absolutely love. once that's blended out, I'm going in with a concealer. I'm using the Juvias Place concealer. This I'm placing under my eyes, on my nose, like the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, my chin area, forehead, any blemishes I want to cover up, which is just one right now. So to blend this out, I always go with a little brush first. This is a Morphe brush, just to make sure I get everything in the creases or like tight up under my eye. And then once I get it blended out with the brush how I like it, I'll go back in with my Beauty Blender sponge and like really blend everything out and get everything smooth with that. When I use the Beauty Blender sponge to blend it out, I make sure it's wet. I always wet it first and squeeze out the excess water. This is a face and body sponge, so it's really big. So I just go back in and blend everything out with this. Setting powder, I'm using the Morphe setting powder in translucent shade, and I use another sponge, just a small one, and to the places under my eyes and in the areas that I usually would get creasing, so like that around my mouth area, chin, and my forehead, or areas that I'm a little more oily. So I put that on, and then I go back in with a brush, like an under eye brush, to brush all the excess powder away. Then I'm using a bigger fluffy brush to brush any excess powder away and set any areas that I missed with the sponge. And next, I always do bronzer. This is my absolute favorite part. So I'm using a big fluffy brush from the Jaclyn Hill collection and my Tarte clay bronzers. I've had these forever, but I mix two shades together and just go in, starting at the top of my ear, and bronze up. I always do my cheeks and my forehead area, and then bring it down my neck just to help everything blend. And then I go in with a smaller brush and the darker shade to contour the bronzing I did, and I'll just go over my forehead area since the brush is a little big. I take a smaller precise brush to add a little shading under my lip and contour around my nose. Next, for blush, I'm using the Tarte, I believe this is the Holiday collection. So I use the bottom two shades, mix them together, place them on the apples of my cheek, and bring it up. I do apply a little mascara to my false lashes. I didn't put any mascara on before I put lashes on. So I put the mascara on now to blend them together, any areas that the lashes aren't covering, like my inner corner. And then I also apply to my bottom lashes. So for eyeshadow, I really just like to do basic eyeshadow for my everyday look. So these are just the two bronzers that I used. I just mix them together and place them in my crease and blend them out. And it gives a really nice natural look. Nothing too much for an everyday look. So setting my face, I use this Evian like setting, or it's like a water spray. I don't think it's really a setting spray, but it works for me. So I just spray it all over my face, then I go in with my beauty blender and just push everything in, and it really helps everything like melt together. And last, this is my favorite part, is highlighter. I said the best part right here. So I'm using the first two shades, the lightest two in the palette. I always go in with those first, and then I go in with the more bronzy color shade. That one's my absolute favorite shade. And place it over top, and that stuff is like blinding. It's ridiculous. So I always do cheekbones, nose, and Cupid's bow. I do go in with a smaller, more precise brush to hit the corners of my eyes and go over my Cupid's bow again. For lip liner, I'm using the ColourPop lip liner. I think this is in the shade BFF. It's very natural, matches my lips really well. It's one of my top lip liners that I always use pretty much every day. So when I go for a more natural look, I just barely, line my lips just so you can see them. And then I'm going to go in with a clear gloss today. So this is literally just a Bath & Body Works gloss I got for Christmas. And for some reason I absolutely love it. And I think it's just because it's clear, it's not too thick and heavy. So I'm just putting this right on top. And you can see how natural it looks. But that is my everyday makeup look. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. And I'll see you in my next one.